Can you smell it? I think it smells like Drumfest is coming or something. Yeah, in 2 weeks I'll be, in Downtown Drumfest in Sevilla, Spain. It's gonna be awesome. And of course, don't forget more news we have on November. I think it's 17th and 18th. We have Alteza Drumfest, another huge festival. Is really growing up too. Mike Johnston, Dave Ellich, more people, and especially my friend, my buddy Seven Sui from Seven Drums, amazing Spanish drum YouTube channel, and I'm really happy for him, and it's really deserved. Cool. Sorry, I haven't said who I am. I am Alberto Iglesias. This is Drumsticks Sunday, and here we are to talk about a different pair of drumsticks every week. Welcome here, drumstickers, and let's talk about drumsticks. In this case, we have another request from our friend Matías Launas, and in this case, he asked me to try this model from the one and only Neil Peart. Okay, what can I say about Neil Peart? First of all, Matías told me, I know you are not a huge fan of progressive rock and all that stuff. That's completely true. I said that many times, and I don't know a lot about that. But anyway, first of all, you don't need to be a huge fan of progressive rock to know Neil Peart. It's probably between the top 10 most known drummers of all times. And anyway, well, first of all, Neil Peart is really mainly known because he was the drummer from the band Rush, mythic band, American band, progressive rock, and of course he's also one of the drummers with one of the biggest influence in many drummers, not only from progressive rock, from rock, and he's a beast player. You can check that out, of course, as always say in YouTube. You can you have a lot of YouTube videos, and he's amazing. So in my case, I'm not a huge fan of progressive rock, but it doesn't mean I can appreciate what he's doing or the way he plays. It's amazing. So that's Neil Peart. Now we have to talk about the Neil Peart drumsticks, right? But before starting, as always, I think it's better if we can see a picture and check that out. So you have wait a minute, because the Promark names are kind of hard to say, so I'm gonna try to say only one round. Shirakasi Oak Neil Peart PW747W. Okay, what can I say about the drumstick? First of all, yeah, you know that, the sizes and all that. We have 0.551 of grip, thickness of the drumstick. We have the length is 16 plus a quarter. What else? Okay, we have medium taper, huge oval tip compared with the drumstick, and what is peculiar also about this drumstick is it's made of oak. So that's the wood that is being used in this drumstick. Okay, translating that as always, 0.551. Wait a minute, I would say that it's less than a 5/8, but that's not completely true in this case. As I have mentioned in the past, because of one question from one of you, I don't remember the name, sorry, but we talk about this. In this case, for Promark, we usually say that 5/8 is 0.565. That's the big first model. We use that kind of to have a reference point. But for Promark, the 5/8 is 0.551. So this is the 5/8 for Promark. Okay, you know that's completely, well, you know that at this point, I hope that every company has their own adaptations, they take their own decisions. So for Promark, they usually have, I think they have thinner drumsticks in general if you compare that with Big Firth and many other companies, right? So that's we have the 5A here for Promark, okay? About the length is a quarter more than a regular 16 inches, so we have a little bit, this drumstick is a little bit longer than a regular one. And we have also, what else? Oh, well, the medium taper and the oval taper, we're going to talk about that, but we have the boot. I'm going to start with the boot in this case, because I think it's great. We have oak, Japanese oak. In fact, I think most of the oak used in drumstick is always Japanese oak. I think because of the characteristics of the boot, of course, and all that stuff. Oak is, well, just in case you don't know, the wood that is mainly used for drumstick, or is most used for drumstick is hickory, okay? And then, okay, that's a medium density, medium size, just kind of in the middle, okay? So then you have also a lot of maple models which are lighter because maple has less density than hickory, less weight and all that stuff. On the other hand, if you want more weight in your drumstick, then you have to go to oak because it's way more dense than hickory, so have more weight, it's harder, blah blah blah. So that's kind of the three main options. We have a lot of different specific options, specific models and peculiar models on that stuff, but that's the three main boots that are used in drumsticks. So what can I say about boot? First of all, the weight. You have more weight than with a regular hickory. In this case, I mean, if you are used to the thickness of a Big Firth 5A, and you think, oh, but that's thinner, so it's going to be too thin for me. Okay, pay attention to that because okay, it's thinner, but the weight is, I think, is pretty similar, or even this model has more weight even. That's because of the wood, of course. On the other hand, we have more, it's a harder wood, so it's gonna last longer. In fact, you don't notice that. It's pretty hard to notice that in the camera, but the weight, just the way it's been heat and the way it's been, I don't know the English word for that, but well, you know, if I compare this taper and tip, the actual situation, the actual appearance of this, compared with other regular hickory models, this is way better. You can barely notice the heat, you can barely notice and that's because it's a harder wood, so you can expect that if this model or oak models in general are going to last longer, which is pretty good, of course. So we have the weight and we have more durability, okay? Cool. About the grip, it's 0.551. Of course, if you are using 5A from Promark, that's good. It's just exactly the same. Okay, no difference. If you are using Big Firth or other models, you can expect a thinner drumstick, maybe something like the Big Firth 85s or something like that, right? I think it's even a little bit less than 85s. But anyway, it's just up to you, as I always say, if you are comfortable with that. But pay attention to the weight. It's not only about the in this case, you're gonna have that thinner drumstick, but at the same time it has more weight, so the feeling is different. Okay. Cool. About the length, it's just a quarter more than a regular 16. I barely noticed that, honestly, when I was playing. I realized that it was a little bit longer. I wasn't able to discriminate if it was a quarter or half or something like that. But in my case, I'm not. Oh, sorry. I'm not a huge fan of that. But in this case, honestly, I can barely notice. It's been really comfortable to use them, and it's cool. What you can really notice is the combination of taper and tip. We have medium taper, we have medium to short, but more medium, of course, and we have pretty huge oval tips. So that combination is, you know, these suckers are going forward, going for it. And if you add to that the weight or the extra weight that you have, what I would say is you have a kind of really powerful drumstick. Don't let you, I mean, if you think of the drumstick at your, maybe in the table or even in your hand, you say, oh, this is a thin drumstick, you're gonna expect more, you know, more jazzy style. No way. You can get a ton of volume from your drums with this drumstick, and mainly I think it's because of the weight and the combination of weight and tip. In this case, the tones, you can hear the tones pretty clear with this. The ride is gonna open a lot, you have to control that. And when I was practicing, you know, swinging and all that, I instantly noticed that I have to control this, because if you let the drumstick go, you have a lot of overtones, the ride is gonna open a lot. You can feel the weight in your fingers and in your hands, so that's it. It makes total sense if you see Neil Peart playing, because he has a huge kit and he has a lot of different stuff there. So he plays well. He's amazing playing, and but the way he plays with power and with all that stuff, I think it makes sense that he has this drumstick. So I would say that first, trying to recap about the drumstick first. Powerful drumstick, you can expect a lot of volume, a lot of sound from your drums. Second thing, I think it's a great option if you like that, if you like powerful drumstick, if you are looking for that, but you don't like thick drumsticks. If you don't want 2 beats, you don't want even 5 beats, too much for you, and you want that, but you say, okay, but if I go below 5B, I'm gonna lose a lot of volume and all this stuff. Pay attention to this. This is a great option. Weight and tip, great combination. Okay. Just something curious that happened this week is that the combination of grip and length is not exactly, but just a little bit, mainly the same as the Terry Bossio model from the last week. But we have oak here, so the weight is way different, believe me. And the tip and all that stuff, but just it's curious. They both have huge kits, and I think Terry wins in that, because that's the craziest set that you're gonna find out probably, but Neil Peart doesn't have a lot to envy from that kit. That's all I have, okay? That's all I have from this amazing drumstick, but powerful, don't forget. Cool, so we have 7 days in front of us. In fact, I think it's gonna be the last episode before the Tam Tam Drum Fest, because next week I have the Tam Tam Drum Fest. So let's see what happens next week. Okay, now you have 7 days, as always, to practice, to try drumsticks, to ask whatever you want, and I'm gonna stay here waiting for you. Okay, I'm not gonna move from here. So don't forget that. Goodbye.